Carlos King himself hopped online to let everyone know that Love and Marriage, Huntsville was not airing due to the holiday weekend. He told viewers to catch up on the season so far and reassured us that the show will be back next Saturday. Destiny. Peyton also confirmed this by posting the same update, making sure fans knew there was no new episode. She even said she was disappointed too, and honestly, that tells you how invested everyone is, even the cast members. But hold up, don't click away, because even though there wasn't an episode, there's still plenty to talk about, and the cast made sure we had something to keep us buzzing about. Stick with me because we're about to break it all down. Carlos King also did an interview with young Jock's wife recently, and while I haven't fully dived into it yet, it's something worth keeping an eye on. Carlos never just sits still. He's always working on something, whether it's interviews, new projects, or stirring conversations around the shows he produces. And when Carlos talks, especially about Love and Marriage, Huntsville, you already know fans listen carefully. I'll be checking out that interview soon, and if it's spicy enough, you can bet it'll deserve its own review. So make sure you watch until the end because we're going to circle back to what this interview could mean for the show and the cast dynamics. Now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about Clarissa. If you follow the commentary and conversations around this show, you already know Clarissa is always a hot topic. People love to bring her up, and for good reason. There's always something happening around her name. And here's the hook. What I'm about to say connects straight back to the Scott family, and you'll want to see how. So don't go anywhere, because this is where the drama really picks up. Speaking of the Scotts, LaTisha Scott is making headlines again. Now, fans of the show know that LaTisha and her husband, Marcel Scott, are no strangers to being in the middle of speculation, shade, and subliminals. That's just part of the territory when it comes to this show. Recently, LaTisha and Marcel celebrated their anniversary and went out of town for the occasion. That's a sweet moment for them as a couple, but of course, it wouldn't be love. And marriage, Huntsville, without a little spice attached. LaTisha posted a picture on Facebook where she was rocking some camo pants, and people were quick to point out how they fit her. Comments were flying in about her giving body odie odie. And while some folks praised her look, LaTisha's own caption told a bigger story. She wrote, "I am not as disrespectful as I could be, and I want people to be more grateful for that." Whew. Let me pause here for a second and say, did you catch that? Because that line right there was loaded. It sounds like shots were fired, and when someone posts something like that, you know they're aiming at somebody. Who exactly? That's the big question. Stick around, because we're going to connect this to other drama with the cast, and you don't want to miss that part. Now, if you've been keeping up with the Scotts, you know Marcel Scott has often been the center of conversations about loyalty, business, and even those subliminals. LaTisha's post had fans talking about who she was aiming at, and whether it was directed at Melody Shari, Destiny Peyton, or maybe even Kimmy Scott, who has also had her fair share of disagreements with LaTisha. Kimmy, for the most part, has been the calm voice in the group, but even she has had to step out of character at times when things go too far. And this is where the beauty of Love and Marriage, Huntsville, comes in. It's not just about marriages, it's about friendships, business partnerships, and how messy things can get when lines blur. If you're still here, make sure you stay with me because the connections we're about to uncover will have you looking at LaTisha's post in a whole new light. Meanwhile, Melody Shari is still one of the central figures of this entire franchise. Even though she's not directly mentioned in LaTisha's recent post, fans can't help but wonder if Melody is always a silent target when people start throwing subliminals. Melody has been through it all. Her divorce from Martel Holt, co-parenting, struggles, rebuilding her brand, and still keeping her head held high. If you've followed Melody's journey, you know she doesn't back down from speaking her truth. Martel Holt, on the other hand, continues to be a name that stirs up emotions in the fan base. Whether it's his past actions, his public drama with Melody, or his entanglement with Arian Curry, Martel has never been far from controversy. And let's be real, when LaTisha talks about disrespect, some fans automatically think about Martel because his history on the show speaks for itself. So is LaTisha really sending a shot at the Holts? That's what makes people stay glued to this show, and that's why you should stick around to the end of this video, because we're not done unpacking it. Now back to Destiny Peyton for a second. Destiny has been open about her own struggles, whether it's personal relationships, her business, or her shifting dynamics with the rest of the cast. Destiny posting about her disappointment that the show didn't air this week shows how much she's still tied to keeping the fans updated. But Destiny also has had her ups and downs with Melody, and viewers never forget how those tensions played out. So imagine this. LaTisha posting about not being as disrespectful as she could be, Destiny feeling disappointed, Carlos doing interviews, Melody focusing on her path, Martell stirring drama. When you put it all together, it paints a picture of a cast that cannot escape the spotlight, even when the cameras aren't rolling. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Maurice Scott and Kimmy Scott. While Maurice tries to maintain that level-headed balance, fans know Kimmy has had moments where she had to defend herself against rumors and shade, especially when it comes to her relationship. She often tries to stay neutral, but in a group like this, neutrality doesn't always last. When LaTisha throws subliminals, people often wonder if Kimmy feels some type of way too. That's why this anniversary post with the line about disrespect set off alarms, because it didn't just sound like random words, it sounded personal. Let me pull you in with this. What if the subliminal wasn't even about one cast member in particular, but about the entire dynamic of the group? Think about it. On Love and Marriage, Huntsville, people throw shade publicly, but behind the scenes, there's always more than meets the eye, and LaTisha saying she could be more disrespectful might just mean there are things she knows but hasn't said yet. And if that's the case, imagine the fireworks when she decides to spill. That's why you've got to keep watching, because every little post, every little comment could be a preview of the next big blow-up on the show. Now, I can't leave without bringing Martell Holt back into this. Martell has made headlines outside of the show too, and whenever his name comes up, it usually connects right back to Melody. Fans are still rooting for Melody to continue her glow up, and they love seeing her focus on her music, her business, and her kids. But Martell, he keeps us talking, and when LaTisha talks about disrespect, Martell's history makes it easy to assume some of that smoke could be aimed at him. Remember, Martell and Marceau have also had their share of tension, so this could be a layered shot at more than one person. So, what does all of this mean? It means even on a week when Love and Marriage, Huntsville doesn't air, the cast still gives us plenty to unpack. Carlos King is still pushing interviews, Destiny is still updating fans, LaTisha is still throwing subliminals, and Melody and Martell are still at the center of conversations. Kimmy and Maurice are keeping it together, but they're never too far from the mess. And Marceau? Well, he's always part of the speculation, whether it's about business or personal life. This cast knows how to keep the audience watching, even when the cameras aren't rolling. So here's the hook for you. What do you think LaTisha meant with that post? Who was she talking about when she said people should be more grateful? She's not as disrespectful as she could be. Was it Melody, Martell, Destiny, Kimmy, or maybe even multiple people at once? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this right here is the kind of drama that keeps Love and Marriage Huntsville trending.